Hello everyone and welcome to QuicksaveTV, your #1 source for Skyrim coverage on YouTube. Today I'm really glad to have you here because today we're going to talk about what it really means to be a thief. We're going to talk about all aspects of the craft, we're going to talk about the suggested things you should have with you, and I'm also going to refer heavily to my other videos I made before and probably post links, and I will suggest you to check them out if you didn't already, which will really help you form and build your archetype as a rogue character. I have a gigantic amount of notes today for you, so let's just begin with weaponry. So how do we think of selecting weaponry as a rogue class? We have, for you I brought a lot of things today. Let me just go ahead and demonstrate it for you. All these things will somehow be discussed today. So if you don't see something interesting for you, something you are interested in, just, maybe it's not the video you're searching for. Let's just go ahead and pick up all the weaponry I have created specifically for you. Now, in order to understand which weapon would you like to have, you have to understand between which do you select. Two major approaches to playing a rogue character, whether it be a thief or an assassin. You should select whether you want to have a bow and or dagger and something. Why dagger? Because specifically sneak 3 is counted that you're gonna have a dagger because it deals much higher damage. Bow as such is very effective as well and is much more practical than a dagger, as you don't need to be behind the enemy to score a critical attack. So the bow as such requires ammunition. Let's just start with a bow right now. I have created a bow. It's actually my enchanted bow, which is specifically designed for an assassin. Okay, I'm gonna talk a little bit about these things also. Let's start with the arrows. How do we select the arrows appropriate for our bow? In general, you would like to select always the best possible arrows you are able to buy and find. Very simple. If you have, let's say, 100 ebony arrows, go ahead, use ebony arrows. If you have 100 daedric arrows, go ahead, use 100 daedric arrows. But the idea is that not on every encounter you would like to spend ebony arrows or daedric arrows. Sometimes it will be much more practical to spend something like steel arrows. And ebony arrows, which have twice as high damage as the steel arrows, would be much better used in more specific situations. So let me demonstrate it. To murder a rat or a bear, you don't need ebony arrows. But to kill a very strong target such as a dragon, or to kill your mark in order not to aggravate any of the guards around, you should use something much stronger. So here we come to the ammunition segregation. You should use the appropriate ammunition to the appropriate target. Steel arrows should be used on an average, let's say, on a day-to-day basis, in every situation. Much more powerful arrows will help you deal with specific targets really quick without alerting the guards, or to kill especially strong targets. Plus they look cooler. Additionally, if you find it difficult to deal with specific situation, with specific target, you would want to use poisons. How do we use poisons? We go ahead and select a poison and apply to our weapon. Now when you attack, the poison effect also will apply. Don't forget, poison effect does not last for a lot of time, and you have to be really careful with that. Now notice how the charges disappear so quickly with my bow as I use it. This bow is designed specifically to kill target in one hit. Now, how does it work? How do we work with enchantments when we talk about weaponry? Professional enchanter will be able to put up to 2 effects on each weaponry and each piece of equipment. Basically, if you want the weapon to be more practical, you should put much less strong charms on it. If you want the weapon to be one-shot killer, you would like to put the strongest enchantments on it. But be prepared that you will have to recharge it quite often. It will be really impractical in the day-to-day situations. Burns the target for 25 points. Target takes 25 points of frost damage to health and stamina. Perfect. Now think about it. It's additional 50 damage to already very high 141. And now this 141 is it's very well done bow. I'm not gonna say anything about it, but I don't even wear anything to enchant my specialization in archery. Now let's talk about Daggers. First of all, you should have a dagger in the main hand. Again, the logic is the same. Whether you would like to have the dagger such as my harvester, which deals tremendous amount of damage and designed for one hit kill, or you want to have something like the messenger, the dagger which is designed to be used on a day-to-day basis all the time in every situation, and which does not require to be recharged all that often. Now, the idea behind using a dagger is to be able to make a backstab attack which will deal 15x damage. That's we have right here in skills. We have in sneak the right tree. You would want to see that in more detail in the sneak in detail other video I have uploaded before. Okay, so now what do we use? There was a great, very interesting question. What do I use as the additional, the second hand, the left hand, in conjunction with my dagger? So I have a dagger. Perfect. What do I use in the left hand? I don't get it. Should I use the dagger? Should I use the sword or anything else of the kind? So now the thing is that you can use whatever the hell you want, whatever works for you. But there are some major aspects and two major approaches. You should use else a shield, else an additional weapon. Now you would say, what the hell's an assassin with a dagger and a shield? When I'm gonna answer to you, it's a very, very strong combination, because the shield as such gives you additional 2 enchantments, 2 free enchantments for resistances or additional block rate. Now shield will help you survive very difficult situations when you were discovered. The dagger will deal the backstab damage. That's how you will operate. Very, very effective. Especially effective against something like a dragon, something like a very strong enemy which is hard to kill and which cannot be killed by one backstab, let's say. So shield would be a very effective additional. Don't hesitate to use a shield as a thief or an assassin. It's not even a little stupid. It's actually very effective. Another approach is to use a weapon. Now what do we use? Do we use a dagger, a sword, a mace, or an axe? Now that will be heavily influenced by what perks you select in the one-handed. If you go ahead and select perks for axe, you should use an axe. For maces, you should use a mace. For sword, you should use a sword. Essentially, probably the best DPS would be from a mace, but mace is also very hard to wield. It deals the most damage, it's hardest to use, and it consumes the most stamina with usage. Axe is kind of balanced, and the sword is the fastest, but not as damaging. So the idea is, you should select a weapon for yourself, which will help you deal with the enemies if they discover you. It's very simple. Again, you shouldn't enchant the weapon which you're going to use on such bases onto very strong charms. Enchanted something like 5 damage, enchanted to 10, 15 tops, not 25 or anything above that, because like this you won't have enough charges to use it all the time. It's not going to be as effective. And again, you can use a mace with your dagger. You can even skip and don't use a dagger and use something else, but then you're going to sacrifice 15x damage. And again, to find more information about one-handed weaponry, you should check my other video called One-Handed in Detail. In general, anything you want to use as a rogue character will work very well as long as you can justify it and improve it to a satisfactory enough point. Now let's move on to armor. How do we select the armor? I have specifically for this tutorial created 2 sets of armor, and they will contrast very much with each other, and I will try to go ahead and show it to you. Let's go ahead to I created Lonely Warrior set, which is designed for an archer. Okay, you have to remember that this created material is just for your, for the presentation's sake, and the enchantments are also for the presentation's sake. You can always make it better, and you can always make 2 enchantments. If you're a professional enchanter, you will be able to make it better. It's just to present the material to you, the ideas. So we have increased light armor by 25, sneaking is 40% better, bows do 40% more damage, and bows do 40% more damage. So we have 80% additional damage on bows. Now think of that. The damage has increased by 80%. I don't need to wear something very defensive. I can wear something very light, something very comfortable to run around really quickly and deal with the targets really quickly. I don't need to wear something really armored because I'm gonna be at a distance, because I'm a professional bowman, because of this, that, blah blah blah. The idea is, depending on where you want to be, far away from the enemy or close to the enemy, you will choose your armor. You don't really need a heavy armor if you're a professional bowman, an archer. It's not really necessary, but you might use it because it's in general more effective, except for some skills. Then another kind of set is for melee assassin, the called third era armor. Now, light armor increased by 25 points, sneaking is 40% better, sneaking is 40% better, restoration spells cost 25% to cast. Again, this is just an example, you might make it much better than I just did. So the idea of this set is to provide you reasonable defense, while giving you the light of the armor, of the normal light armor, but giving you enough armor to survive close combat hits. Again, why do we enchant the helmet for restoration? Because when the things get hairy, you do want to have restoration. Just go ahead and heal yourself. If you feel that situation is not going to your favor, go ahead and heal yourself. It's very important to keep in mind when you're crossing the line and when you might just die right now. You shouldn't do that, right? It's very good to have some additional skills, such as poisons, such as healing potions, right here, in order to heal you up whenever things get hairy. Just go ahead, open the inventory and use the potion. Very, very good stuff. Now, perfect. Now that we talked about this thing also, let's go ahead and talk about potions. I actually showed them what to talk about them. Potions as such, the healing potions should be used on general basis, and you should always have a stockpile of them. In my example, I had 10 potions. You should have like 20 easily, no problem. If it's ultimate healing, just have 10 of them. Very good to have, because if the things get hairy and you don't have time to heal yourself, or you don't have appropriate healing spell, just go ahead and use the potion. It will save your life and save your nerves on dying. And the poisons, I won't recommend you use them all the time in every possible encounter. I will say something like this. When you need to liquidate a target very quickly without alerting the guards, and you can't afford making a second hit, just go ahead and use the potion, the poison. But make sure that you cannot do it without poison. Don't waste a poison for no reason. Poisons are not ultimately strong, but give a reasonable boost to your DPS. Wow, ebony arrows, you look so beautiful. So now, perfect. Now that we talked about this, I'm gonna give you several skill suggestions. I have right here for crafting professions things. I'll just go ahead and suggest you some things about skills. Alchemy. You should keep a specific set for crafting alchemical potions, and you should always sleep before creating any potions in your bed, preferably in your house, because you get 10 additional percent plus 10% for crafting from only sleeping, from ability well rested. Goddamn phone, I apologize for that. And also, you should always go ahead and activate the Thief Stone. Thief Stone. When you have the Thief Stone activated, you get additional 20% bonus to your alchemy, which means plus 30%, excuse me, not exactly alchemy bonus, the speed at which you increase the skills. Having plus 30% additional speed of increase is very good, and it's very, you don't need to do anything specific for that. To find the stones, they are right here, the Guardian Stones. They're not really far away from Helgen, where you start the game, so it's not really hard to find them. Perfect, that's about alchemy. Light armor. In order to improve your light armor, you should occasionally let others hit you. By this you will improve your armor. If you're really bored out of your mind, you can just go ahead, find a weak enemy and go drinking tea or something, because your light armor will just improve like this. Lockpicking. Now, in order to improve lockpicking faster, do not, I repeat, do not pick up keys unless absolutely necessary, unless keys are required to open a specific doors which cannot be pick locked. It's very important, because the more often you pick up keys, the less locks you will pick lock. You should pick lock absolutely everything and anything. Even if you don't want to take the valuables from inside, just go ahead and pick lock it. Find the second and pick lock it. This way you will increase your pick locking, and you will improve your level faster. Speech. Sell and buy things just like you would, and use more often persuasion and intimidation attempts. They're very useful, and they will help you. They will useful in a way that they improve the speech really quickly. Speech will give you better prices and has some really nice skills about the selling. Now, sneak. Sneak always. Sneak as much as possible. Okay? Sneaking might be hard in the beginning, but it's not so impossible. Think about it. It's not so impossible to sneak around every time. When you're in a dungeon, just go ahead and sneak. Sneak. If it's hard for you and you get detected all the time, press caps lock and sneak slowly. This way the modifiers from the sound you make will not apply anymore because you don't make any noises anymore. It might take much more time, but as an archer it won't be a problem for you, and as a melee assassin it won't be a problem for you again, because the idea is to improve your sneak, not to kill the target. If you're detected, just stand up and go fighting. Not a problem. Not a problem. Now, pickpocketing, I don't remember if I said about it. Lockpicking I said. I think I confused lockpicking and pickpocketing. Jesus, so embarrassing. Lockpicking is for picking locks. Pickpocketing is for stealing from other people. I have created several charms right here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and demonstrate the idea behind the charms. Do not, I repeat, do not enchant your armor, and don't even think about enchanting it like something like 40% easier pickpocketing or 40% easier lockpicking, because it's just stupid. Because once you reach the level 100 in pickpocketing and lockpicking, it will be useless. As useless as it can get. It's always much better to have a charm which gives these bonuses, because it's really easy to change charms. It's not so easy to get the new armor, upgrade it all over again to the gigantic magnitude. Again, it's much easier to just have an amulet. Amulet rings are really easy to find, especially if you are a pickpocket, okay? So create yourself something like, where is the Grey Fox Finger. Lockpicking is 26% easier, pickpocketing success is 26% better. This is very important to improve faster in this, and once you reach the critical mass in it, once you reach, say, 80, and you feel that you don't need it anymore, just go ahead and take it off. Go ahead and take it off. You don't need these things forever on your armor. Just go ahead and create charms for it. Don't get in the habit of enchanting your armor with useless things like this, like water breathing, or resistance to poison, or resistance to getting sick, resistance, improved lockpicking, pickpocketing, improved speechcraft. What the hell enchantment is that? Yeah, try to go ahead, play and master, and I'll see how useful it's gonna be for you when you have on your armor increased chance of pickpocketing the enemy. I mean, if you're not gonna steal all the armor and the weaponry from the enemy, but it's just kind of stupid, and it's, you know, it's a waste of time in my opinion. But again, whatever you want, whatever works for you. And then create the charms. We've talked about armor, but we never really talked about charms. As your armor is majorly focused on improving your fighting characteristics, do not forget to create several charms to either further improve the fighting characteristics or to make them resistance based. I am playing a Nord character, since that I have 50% resistance to frost. To match it, I'm making these two charms. Now I have 50% resistance to shock and to fire as well. Now I feel really confident because I don't really have any problem fighting with anything now. And the Spellbreaker shield will also add me additional fire and shock resistances. It's very, very, very wise to have this kind of balance in enchantments, because when you actually fight with dragons, it's not very helpful when you have just much more damage, much more damage, much more damage, and no resistance against magic, fire, shock, or frost. Okay, perfect. Now, it's about crafting. You should actually watch Crafting Enhanced again on my channel. I'll try to provide all the links for that, so you have better idea of how to enchant items. Now, again, I think it was really intense. I'm sorry if it was not understandable. Go ahead, ask additional questions. I'll be glad to answer them. It was the idea of one of the subscribers. I just wanted to put a light on the thief archetype. How does it work and how does it operate? So here you go. If you are successful, the riches will come to you, such as this. But of course, result may vary just a little bit. So, and thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope you liked the video, enjoyed the commentary. If you did, go ahead, like, subscribe, and share with your friends. I hope to see you again on my channel and in my new videos. Have a great day, and good luck with your thief character.